Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with a review and a bit more for you today. We're going to review this HEADesigns Hunter. Really cool little front flipper knife, but we're also going to talk more about front flippers in general at the end of this video. So stick around if you want to hear more about that, because I always get comments every time I review a front flipper. Some people are like, oh, it's a fad. Some people say, it's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist or an answer to a question no one's asked. Some people really like them. I'm more in the latter camp. I do really like them. I'll explain why at the end. But this particular one, I've been very, very interested in. And like I said, we'll bring out some more at the end here. I have two other ones here, and we'll kind of do not really a comparison, but just a couple front flippers to talk about. This particular one, Sam, the designer, super nice guy. Gets his stuff made overseas, but everything is really, really nice and just really well done. Everything is a bit crazy that he does. He's definitely an outside the box kind of guy, but I kind of like his particular brand of craziness. This is definitely the one I like the most of the stuff he's designed. This was a loaner, and we'll say this is not mine. This is loaned to me by I'm Your Huckleberry. Super nice dude and great content. I'll link to him down below, and I will also link to the HEADesigns site. But thank you so much for loaning this to me. Very, very, very impressed with it, and I might get one someday. Unfortunately, the particular color that I want, or configuration I want, the carbon fiber one, is out of stock everywhere right now. I contacted Sam, and Sam said he accidentally sold his, so there are no carbon ones available anywhere. But I would kind of like to get the carbon one maybe someday. But really, really cool. Comes in a bazillion different colors. I would not have chosen this orange, but then they also have an ice gray, a black. You can get it with a half DLC coated blade. I mean, there are literally, let me see if I can count really quick right now. I wasn't planning on pulling up their site. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know. Trying to do math here. There are currently 8 different configurations right now on the site. So, and I know the carbon one's sold out. I don't think any of the G10 ones are, but anyway, you can get it in a whole lot of different configurations, and it's a very, very cool knife. It does cost $200. It is not inexpensive, but the design, I think, is worth that. As I said, this pretty unique blade shape, and a lot of the details on it. Like, I love this titanium backspacer with that kind of techno look to it, which is the same on the G10, and the carbon is milled exactly the same way. Get the nice HEADesigns logo on the pivot. It's also on the screw on the other side, but it is a standard Torx in there. It's just a T8. All the other hardware is very, very nice. Nice titanium milled pocket clip, again, continuing that kind of techno look with those little dots and the lines. I think it's a pretty cool looking knife, definitely. And it has this cool swoosh in the back, which does do something. We'll get to that when we get to ergonomics, but that's not just style flair. Probably the most controversial thing about this knife is it is kind of an odd blade shape. I'm not gonna say odd. It sounds derogatory. It's unique, and you either like it or you don't. It is kind of a clip point, but it's also all belly, which is kind of weird. It is 154 cm steel. Some people are not too particularly impressed with that for the price. I happen to love that steel, so it doesn't really bother me a whole lot. But I can understand the complaint for 200 or 220 for the carbon. Yeah, you might expect at least S35 VN or something, but I happen to like 154 cm pretty well, and a lot of other companies use it in knives, at least approaching or at this price range. But yeah, overall, I love the looks of it, and quality is great. You have dead-on blade centering, no lock rock, no blade play, no nothing. Lockup's pretty solid. Yeah, the quality on it is just outstanding. I do believe this was made by We, but I can't remember. So if I'm wrong about that, I'm wrong about that, and I supremely apologize to Sam, but like 90% sure it's made by We, but I forgot to look up and verify that before I did this, so I apologize if I'm wrong about that. I will verify it before I publish this, so in case I'm wrong. Pretty sure I'm not, though. Let's do some stats and size comparisons before we get too much farther. I'm going to line this up. Again, these are 1/2 inch squares here. You have an overall length, or blade length, of 2.85 inches, so not a very big knife. Overall length, 6.75 inches. Blade thickness, 0.12. Handle thickness of 0.45 inches. And a weight, I weighed it at 2.9 ounces. They said 2.8 on the site for the G10, and and 2.7 for the carbon. I got 2.8 for the G10. Close enough. Potato, potato. That's completely fine. Let's do some size comparisons. Some of our standards here. You have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and your Spyderco, I couldn't find it for a second, Spyderco Para 3. So you can see not both of the Para 2 or the PM2 and the Para 3 both kind of dwarf it. Not super huge. Two that I thought I don't usually use for size comparisons, but with this knife I thought it would be similar in size to them, probably more accurate. It's ones that you guys may have seen. This is a CRKT P large. So you can see that it is about the same overall length as the P large. If you go with a regular P-Lar, it's a little bit bigger. So I hope that gives you a good idea of the size. And you'll see some more size comparisons when we start talking about front flipper stuff later on. But let's talk more about this knife. That blade. Yes, it is a unique looking shape, but you know, in use, it's just a good blade. It's fine. It measures about 18 thousandths behind the edge, which is pretty good. It slices really well. Came very sharp out of the box, all this stuff. This is a loaner, so I don't know how much it was used or if it was touched up or anything, but it sliced it pretty good out of the box. I was happy with the edge that was on it. Now, the tip is a bit dainty. That's the only thing I'd say. And I'd say that, as far as the blade goes, is the only sacrifice made to style, is that it's just a bit dainty on the tip for sure. Definitely not a prior, as you can see. It's very, as my son would have said when he was a child, he still is, well, I guess he's an adult now, but you know, poiky is the word he would use. It's very poiky. But works great. I have no problem with the blade at all. As I said, you can get it with this bead blast satin combo or a coated and satin combo. As far as the ergonomics go, really good. As I said, this is not a very big knife. And I pointed out that little swoosh in the back there. It's a technical term. But it does work. Because as you can see, what I like about it is it lays right there in the palm of my hand. And it does really help lock the knife in and make it feel very secure. I think this makes it feel more secure than if this was rounded off. And he was just trying, you know, to make the handle to fit a 4-finger grip better. I like this. I think this is a really cool idea. And it really does work. It definitely, I feel very locked in this knife. I wouldn't mind to see, like this jimping here is kind of, yeah, you can use it when you use it like this, but then you can't get all 4 fingers on it. I would not have minded seeing how like Voxnays does, where they put the jimping halfway up the blade. I kind of wouldn't mind that. But other than that, no hot spots or anything. Super comfortable in the hand. This G10 is not particularly grippy, but it's grippy enough. And I just love that cutout. It works really well. Very good idea. Nice design. I do really like that. As far as the carry goes, this is where there's a bit of a failing, but again, it's because of that swoosh. I get why they put it in there, so I'm not going to give much of a hard time for it. But as you can see, put it in Yield Wranglers, it sticks out a lot, for absolute sure. You're just seeing titanium, not that big a deal, and I kind of get why, because that swoosh does work so good. And if they would have moved the pocket clip up higher, he would have been touching the lock bar, which gives you all kind of deployment issues and all that kind of stuff. And on a front flipper, you got to get that deployment right. So I totally get it. I think it's worth it. I think the high carry is, in this particular case, and I know I normally complain a lot about high carry, but I think it's worth the sacrifice in this case to get that great ergonomics that you get from the little swooshy bit. Deployment. Front flipper, as we said, and a pretty darn good one, I do have to say. Very easy. Front flippers always take a bit to get used to. We'll talk about more about that when we get on and talk about front flippers in general. But the action's really smooth. Running on ceramic bearings, all that stuff you'd expect. It's very snappy. Makes a good noise. But here's one of the benefits to this. You're like, I don't want a front flipper. Or maybe, even more accurately, you're saying, I'm not sure if I want a front flipper. And this is the one for you, because you can front flip it, but also you can spidey flick it. You can thumb flick it. It's got a deployment hole also. I'm so terrible at thumb flipping. I don't know what is with my thumb that I'm so bad at it. And we're Trust me, you can if you're not an idiot like me. But you can spuddy flick it all day long. Great. That's a great thing for people, I think. If you were unsure if you want a front flipper or not, there are very few front flippers that also work with other deployment methods, and this one does. So this may be the one for you to get. Lastly, I want to show, I know some of you guys say you don't care about the packaging sometime and think it's a waste of time. This is not. And this isn't just with the Hunter. This is what HEADesigns does all the time. It's amazing packaging. This nice little overslip thing. But here's what we're going to get to. Nice magnetized open box. I love the magnet open boxes. It just feels fancy. You get a nice note from Sam thanking you for buying his products. Again, talked to him a lot on Instagram and stuff. Super nice guy. The knife would have been in here. But down below is where you get the pirate's booty of just cool stuff that this comes with. And don't eat me, that doesn't count. You get this nice little box here, which is loaded with crap. Unbelievable. You get, this is going to take so long to put back in here again before I send it back. You get this cool patch, HEADesigns patch, nice. You get cloth, as you'd expect. Everybody sends those, but nice little HEADesigns logo on it. You get stickers galore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stickers. Nice little one of the Hunter there, the cross, the HEADesigns logo, a little Hunter one. Designed different, HEADesigns. Really, really cool. And you get this, I didn't open this because he didn't open it either. You get this little felt kind of slip pouch for it. You get all that stuff. That's a lot of stuff. That is the most stuff I have ever seen, that I've ever gotten with a knife. And I've reviewed some very, very expensive knives, and I've never gotten that much stuff. It's just pretty cool. It just makes you nerd out. It makes you want to buy another one, and that's awesome. So my overall feelings on this knife, I really, really do like it. And honestly, yeah, if they'd had the carbon one and I had the money available at the time, I would have bought the carbon one. So, but I missed out on it. And I want to thank again, Yamir Huckleberry for loaning this to me, because I'm so glad I got a chance to get my hands on one. Someday I'll get one. I do like it that much that now this has made my someday list. It's just really nice for sure. Maybe the black G10 one, I might just, I don't know. If my tax return gets here in time, I might just say screw it and get the black G10 one, or that ice gray. It's kind of like a bluish. It's really cool. I think that's the color most people get them in. I think that's the most popular color. But very, very impressed with this knife. Definitely a recommendation if you want a good small front flipper. Let's talk about front flippers more in general, because you guys bring them up all the time. So we have the HEADesigns Hunter. Bring in my personal Boost Blade Smoke, and my Real Steel Metamorph G5 Mark II. I think I got it all right there. You see, these are both longer, but still kind of the same, kind of concept. So front flipper, why do people say, some people say they're a fad? Because yes, they do take a minute to get used to, definitely. I'm sure sometime flipping these around when we're on camera here, I'm going to miss one. Probably not as bad as I missed the thumb flip on that one, but the Hunter, but yeah. They do take a minute to get used to, but that's kind of the fun of it. And people say they're, an answer to a problem that doesn't exist. I don't agree with that. I think what they're the answer to is the pocket pecker that we all talk about, because Nick Shabazz made it so famous, knocking stuff over the place. You put these in your pocket, there's no flipper tab sticking out. Here's what I have in my pocket today, and this is only partly because I wanted to brag, because I finally got my hands on one of these. North Arm Skaha. Got a pretty significant flipper on it to get the action you want out of it. So you have all that flipper sticking out of your pocket. You don't in these. And especially in the Smoke and the Metamorph, it allows you to make such a slim knife that is so easy to get in and out of your pocket. And so I do think it is a solution to a problem. Now, some people don't care about that. A lot of people say, I only keep my knife in my pocket that has my knife in it, so I don't care about that. All right, that's cool. That's you. But I don't. I mean to. but I forget. And so it's nice to have something just, especially these two, so slim, getting out of the pocket. And once you get the hang of a front flipper, yes, it does take some time. But once you do, it's rewarding. It's just fun. And what's wrong with that? That makes it worth it to me. It does. You want something that's fun to use. You know, you just want something fun to use, and they're fun. They're just fun. They're just cool. Your knife. It's also fun if you're around other knife nerd friends and other front flippers, and they're not used to using them, to be like, haha, I know how to, and you don't. But they're fun, and I don't see a problem with that. Just for designing something for the sake of fun, I really don't. The downside is all three of these are very well designed ones, and they all work great. The downside of the front flipper, the biggest downside I can see, is some of them aren't. And especially, like, I don't mean to call out names, but I reviewed a rake a while ago. I don't remember the model number because they refused to put proper names on stuff. It wasn't fun. I didn't like it. And if you have to get them dialed in, like, just right. And if you get them dialed in just right, they're awesome. If you don't, they're not. But you don't have to spend a ton. I think these are like $70, maybe $80, and they're awesome. A 14C28N. I always recommend the Metamorph. I love it, whether you get the G2 or the first generation, whichever one. And then, you know, 200 and 220. The smoke is pretty hard to get your hands on. But, excuse me, I wanted to bring it in here because it's another front flipper that I have. But, and there are prices in between also, and prices way above. They're like, if you want to get a chamois, then, oh my God, those, you know, you could spend a couple grand on one of those things if you get one fully customized. But I really like the front flipper. I don't think it's a fad. Yes, it did just kind of burst out of nowhere in the last year and a half maybe, but I don't think they're a fad. I think they're going to stick around because I do think it is a solution to an issue that some of us do have. Is it a bit of an overkill solution? Because you can find other, like, you know, Elijah Isham is very good at designing knives with a little tiny front flipper, or tiny flipper that's not really a front flipper. It's more of a conventional flipper, but it's kind of off over here. Yeah, that works too. But I like the front flipper because, like I said, it's just fun, and it does take some skill to do. Not a ton, though, not nearly as much as you think, but once you get a front flipper and you really master it, like I've been playing with the smoke all the time, and I've gotten really good at it. The smoke probably is the best action of all of them, although it's not, the hunter is not far off at all. And yeah, when you just get to the point where you can just kind of master that, it makes you feel like you did something. That's good too. So I like the front flipper. You feel free not to, but I think they're pretty cool. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review and rant, explanation, whatever. I've been Brian. Have a good one.